Hello and welcome back to Green Flag Media. Today we will be discussing a brief history of the Australian Grand Prix and everything you need to know leading up to this year's race. The Australian Grand Prix is one of the most prestigious and longest-running motor racing events in the world. The race has a rich and storied history, dating back to 1928. In this video, we'll take a closer look at the history of the Australian Grand Prix, from its early beginnings to the present day. The first Australian Grand Prix was held in 1928 at the Phillip Island Circuit in Victoria. The race was organised by the Victorian Light Car Club, and it was a 100-mile race that featured a total of 17 drivers. The winner of the race was Arthur Waite, driving an Austin 7. The following year, the race moved to the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit, where it remained until 1935. During these early years, the race was primarily dominated by local drivers, with the exception of the 1933 race, which was won by New Zealander Johnny Walker. The outbreak of World War II led to a suspension of the Australian Grand Prix, with the last race being held in 1939. The race resumed in 1946, with the first post-war race being held at the Point Cook Airfield in Victoria. The post-war era saw the Australian Grand Prix become an increasingly important event, with the rise of international drivers and teams competing in the race. In 1956, the race was held at Albert Park in Melbourne for the first time, marking the beginning of a long and successful relationship between the city and the race. In 1985, the Australian Grand Prix was included in the Formula One World Championship for the first time. The race was held at the Adelaide Street Circuit, which had a reputation for being one of the most challenging and exciting tracks on the calendar. During the Formula One era, the Australian Grand Prix has seen some memorable moments, including the famous collision between Ayrton Senna and Nigel Mansell in 1991, and the 2002 race, which saw Mark Webber make his debut in front of his home crowd. In 1996, the Australian Grand Prix moved to its current location at Albert Park in Melbourne, where it has remained ever since. In recent years, the Australian Grand Prix has also become known for its innovative approach to sustainability and environmentalism, with a focus on reducing the carbon footprint of the race and promoting renewable energy. The 2023 Australian Grand Prix is scheduled to take place on April 2 at the Albert Park Circuit in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. It will be the third round of the 2023 Formula One World Championship, with Max Verstappen currently leading the World Drivers' Championship by just 1 point. Also, 2023 rookie Oscar Piastri will be making his home race debut this year for McLaren at the Australian Grand Prix. Piastri was raised in East Brighton, Melbourne, and is the only Australian driver on the current Formula One grid. Pirelli will supply the teams with the C2, C3, and C4 tire compounds, designated hard, medium, and soft, for the event. The track has undergone changes following the 2021 redevelopment, with a new DRS zone at Turn 9 being proposed and installed, and later scrapped due to safety concerns in 2022. However, it has now been re-implemented after receiving positive feedback from the FIA and Formula One. Qualifying will take place on April 1, 2023 at 1600 local time, with the race scheduled for April 2 at 1500 local time. It is set to be an exciting event, with some of the biggest names in Formula One vying for victory on the iconic Albert Park circuit. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure you like and subscribe for more Formula One content.